Hey, Nikki here, and in this video I'm going to take you through how to do a goblet squat using either a kettlebell or a dumbbell, plus a couple strategies if you feel like you really struggle this one. So stay tuned. Okay, let's do this. So you got two choices here for your goblet squat. You either can use a kettlebell or a dumbbell. I'm going to primarily demonstrate with the kettlebell, so let me show you the dumbbell hold for this first. So if you're going to use the dumbbell, you are going to hold it one hand on each side, like a little goblet or a chalice, and then you're going to have it just near your chest. Your legs will be out, and then just basic form of the goblet squat, right, is a sit down and a stand up. So that's what we're learning or working with today. If you're using a kettlebell, very similar. You can pick it up the way that I just showed you with the dumbbell, where you can just literally grab it and then hold, right? Or if you want to be fancy or cute about it, as your kettlebell, your weight gets heavier, this works nicely for the kettlebell where you send your butt back and you pick it up and then it's just right there in front of you. So your choice on how you bring it up there. Now, as far as squat stance goes, this is very, very personal. I have very long legs and a very short torso, so my squat stance is a little bit wider than some people's, and some people's squat stance will be a little bit more narrow. For most of us, a little bit wider than hip width apart with toes slightly out, so not super far turned out, not perfectly parallel, works nicely. So you can play with where that is for you. You're gonna find your nice upright posture, and then really, let me show you from the side, all that you're going to do is sit down, inhale, and then exhale, stand up. So let's talk a little bit about depth. For a weighted squat, ideally we don't tuck our pelvis at the bottom. So even if you can get lower, what I would recommend is only go as far as you can, keep your spine long without tucking, right? Usually elbows to about where your knees are if you have the mobility, and then you just exhale, stand. So that's about the depth that most of us are aiming for. Now, what if you feel like your heels lift off the ground or your chest leans really far forward? Here's another thing that's kind of nice to do. You may need a lighter kettlebell. You can play with counterbalancing by sending your arms out and then pulling it in. Kind of a nice little core workout too, right? So sending it out and bringing it in. So that's a few more cues. One more thing to note is, where are your knees? So here's the deal. Sometimes you might have heard drive your knees out. That cue works okay, but what you have to understand is your toes, your big toes, shouldn't be leaving the ground because you drove the knees out. That's not what we're after. So I'll show this with the kettlebell, but you want to keep your feet down, and the knee driving out is more of an external rotation of your upper leg or your thigh bone. So let's try it. This will really get your glutes engaged. So you're going to pick up your kettlebell or your dumbbell, and then you're going to screw your big toes to the floor. They're not leaving. And then you can push the knees out, but don't lift your big toes. There it is. And then you just stand up. Right? So try that one more time. Big toes stay down even as the knees go out roughly over the second toe. And you stand. So that's really that. Sometimes I get the question of, is it okay to let my chest drop forward? A little. Right? And sometimes I get the question, are my knees allowed to go over my toes? Sure, it depends on your body proportions, right? This is very, very nuanced, but hopefully that gives you a general sense of the form and a couple simple ways to troubleshoot. So I do hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section. If you'd like to stay in touch, two ways to do that. You can either subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try to put out new videos about once a week, or I do have a newsletter where I send out bonus content. So long-form tips for Pilates, fitness, kettlebell, strength, injury prevention, as well as podcasts. If you'd like to join my list, you can click the link in the description to do that. So I hope you have a great day, and thank you for being here with me.